Welcome, Dilawar. Welcome, Sam. So a lot of you folks may or may not know who Dilawar Syed is and all the work he does. So please give me the luxury of introducing him to you properly. As we know, he is the president of Freshdesk. He's also the president of our global charter, which is Open Global, and he's very actively involved into the civic duties of this country and does a tremendous amount of work there. So, Dilawar, first of all, thank you so much for being here. I know you're super busy with all of your civic responsibilities going on and with everything Freshdesk is going on. So, very, very hearty warm welcome for you to be here in Chicago.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity. Glad to be here.
And on top of that, sorry, but he selected us over Houston chapter. So Houston has their own game today, so that's right there. For local Chicago. So I know that Freshdesk is one of the fastest growing startups in the Silicon Valley. You guys have just closed a huge round. It's pre-IPO, and you're the help of this company. Would you like to share your journey of how you got to be the president of a company that's funded so heavily out of the Valley?
Again, thank you, and thanks for being here. And I couldn't be anywhere else but in Chicago today. Again, congratulations to the Cubs. I was telling somebody that I was walking around, not even thinking of wearing Giants hat yesterday morning, and so didn't get beaten up here. And before I answer the question, it's wonderful to see this crowd here. And I know we've had to do a turnaround here, so thanks for Harris and the entire team. It takes a village to build these community platforms. So Freshdesk, let me back up a little bit. This is something that I've had my background is both in enterprise and consumer tech. I actually was in consulting before business school, and after business school, I moved to tech. I'm from the year of 9/11. Our first day of recruiting was September 11, 2000. And at Wharton, actually Philly was evacuated that day. And I think in many ways it changed our lives, all of our lives, as well as the world changed. But also in the immediate term, there was a huge impact on the economy. And I always wanted to come back to tech. I, like Salman, didn't have interest in finance. I thought it was a little too much. I had a young baby. My daughter was born in business school. So I moved back to the Valley with Siebel Systems, and that's product roles. By the way, in my opinion, some of the funnest job you can do and the best job you can do in the world is to build products, whether in tech or in another industry. That is really where you learn to be a CEO, if you will, because you are building stuff and then people are supporting you, and you have to use a currency of influence to get stuff done. So I worked in tech I worked at Siebel for some time. Then I moved to Yahoo, very different, and that was more consumer tech, but I was focused on building platforms. So that's sort of my enterprise background. And then things sort of took a big shift. So I actually worked in a big company, but it was mostly entrepreneurial role. I took a role to be the CEO of a company that ran the biggest social network in Turkey, of all the places. And I'm not Turkish. And as anybody's been to Turkey, you know that it's a beautiful country. It's a very warm people, but it's a very different country. Its own language, its own ecosystem, and just like some Lahoris would say, Lahore, Turkish people say, well, what we do here is special. Nobody else is like us. And so to penetrate a market which is very, full of themselves, as a foreigner, it wasn't easy. I spent about 5 years commuting back and forth, and that's where the relationship that I built with Tiger, who is our lead investor in Freshdesk. When we were wrapping up, I asked Lee Fixer, who's on the board, what else can I help you? And I'm going to make this point about relationships and how important they are in one's career, and how you are always, if you will, interviewing for your next thing, without even knowing. So when I spoke to Lee, his immediate response was Freshdesk. And I'm like, what's Freshdesk? And I'm saying about Freshdesk. Well, it's my first SaaS investment. It's a customer service platform that helps companies engage with their end consumers via a SaaS product in the cloud. And you can bring it all together. Phone, email, channel, live chat, mobile, all of that could be managed within one platform. Within one product. But it's a very affordable, it has almost no implementation, and you can go have a live help desk, live customer service product in a matter of days, if not.
Is my understanding correct, Dilawar, that Freshdesk is a global company and you have over 50,000 customers live today, and by no means it's a small Silicon Valley company that's going fast? Could you give us a little bit?
So we are about 100,000 customers.
100,000, sorry.
And these are small, medium businesses, a very long tail, what I call the mainstream economy. We also have teams within very larger companies. Group 1, for example, which is Freshdesk, Solar City in the Valley is one of our biggest customers, DHL just went live on Freshdesk. So it's a pretty broad range of customers globally. So again, just my journey to Fresh has happened via our investor. And the idea here was to help sort of take us global. The company was founded in India. And in our early days, while we were global, we didn't have presence here. But to be in a very, very competitive market, we compete with the likes of Salesforce and other, you have to be where your customers are, especially as you move up market. So just selling it from an emerging market would not be sufficient.
Oh, okay, thank you. So you hinted on something. The company is based in India, and you're the president of that company. So if you don't mind me asking you, not to ignore the elephant in the room, you're a Pakistani descent guy managing a company out of India. How do you overcome and deal with those issues? Because I, as an entrepreneur, have always wondered about, tapping into the Indian resource, how the travel is easy, and any culture, funny stories or horror stories that you can share with us.
So much in there.
No, because I think, for me personally as an entrepreneur, you cannot deny the power that India brings in the technology sector. And I always fear with the travel.
So let me first say, so we are a global company. We are not based in India. We are founded in India. We have 5 offices around the world. Our global headquarters is in the Bay Area. Chennai is our biggest office. That's where the product is built. But also we do a lot of operations from Chennai. It is our biggest office. That's true. And we just recently opened an office in Berlin, so we're in London and as well as Sydney. But your point is valid, and your question is valid one. That the company has a big nerve center in India, and I have attempted to, and I strive not to lose focus of what we're trying to do, and not worry about the sort of where things are happening, that I think often we can handicap ourselves. I before talked about fashion, I talked about Turkey. I mean, Turkey to me is in some sense more foreign than India is. While you may think you all love Pakistanis, but I'll tell you, after that honeymoon is over, you can't even speak the language. You're an outsider. So I think we as entrepreneurs, as leaders, should always try to let our judgments sort of put them on the side and focus on what the opportunity is, focus on what the impact is. The reason I came to this company was because when Girish and I spent some time and I realized, wow, what a disruptive force this company is. You may have heard of services products built from India, but not a product from an emerging market. It's a product, it's not a service. The fact that you can come and dislodge huge incumbents with a easy-to-use modern SaaS product that is affordable, and it's being done with the help of a global team. To me, that was fascinating. To me, that was disruptive. And I'm proud that it's coming from South Asia. I actually wear that pride as much as my Indian colleagues do. And I'll tell you, wearing my other hat on, I often feel things happen for a reason. I think there was a reason, I'm not materialistic, but I do think that when you end up doing things and you find yourself in strange places like Istanbul and you're running a Turkish company, commuting back and forth, or you're in Chennai, I could have gone anywhere, but there is a reason, laws of the universe place us in certain places for a reason, and you got to embrace the opportunity to actually do more with that than just run a company. I actually think in this particular case, and I realize it, I have an opportunity to be an ambassador. In that region, and say, no, we have, talent should be geo-blind. If we are today where we are teaming up, with my Indian colleagues to help build this great company, I won't let anything else come in the way. I'll share with you a very small story about India, Pakistan. In my first trip, I was there in August, about 3 years ago, and this was my last day with the team, and I was on the flyover to Pakistan. It was 14th August, and I was taking a walk outside my hotel, and I saw India's flags going up for Independence Day celebrations. And you know what? We all have read the history, we all have been taught history in a certain way, and we all have our own viewpoints. But until you place yourself in situations, you never quite know how you really feel. And I have to tell you, and I say this, and I've said the same thing in Pakistan as well, actually an open event, that I felt a sense of pride in me. when I saw that flag go up. And it was completely unexpected. I didn't know what to think. And so the next day we were having an all hands meeting, and someone asked me a question: How did you like being in India for the first time? And they knew that I'd gone through some trouble to get my visa. And I told them, and I did in that story, and I said, look, the night before I was walking the street and I saw your flag go up. I felt this affinity. And here's why, because we have shared history. Because today I'm going to fly to Pakistan. I'll be in Lahore. And when I land in Lahore, I'll see Pakistan's flags up for its Independence Day. And there are no two countries in the world that join at the hip. 1.2 billion people, if not more, if we do our census in Pakistan finally. That got their freedom at the same time, have a lot more in common. Look at the talent, and man, we waste our energies on the wrong stuff. Here we're creating great products, we're building great companies. So I have found commonality. If anything, we often joke about cricket and so that's all fun. But the reality is, I have never let that come in the way, and I would encourage everybody here. We are operating in a global world. We are here as Americans. We are working with folks all backgrounds. We must never let any divisions or perceived divisions that we grew up with, which we did certainly, right? Come in the way of what we need to do to get the job done as entrepreneurs.
That's such a great point. Thank you for sharing that, because that truly, if you start looking at it as this is an opportunity for us to be ambassadors, then a lot of the biases that we may have grown up with or been taught could be overcome for that. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Switching gears a little bit, I know the second hat that you wear is the esteemed president of our Open Global chapter. A lot of our folks here in Chicago, including some of my charter members who did not travel to the global retreat, shame on you, by the way, because it was a great opportunity. I would really like you to talk about that and empower these folks to tell what a global network we have put together under Open Global.
So Open Global, I'm going to talk about Open a little bit. I think many of you are, hopefully you've been here before, but it's again great to see this crowd here. So I think I can say it pretty safely, and Zan, my old friend SV's here, chapter, that Open is by far a platform of most successful entrepreneurs and leaders of Pakistani heritage, by far. And what the beauty is, it's built by volunteers. There's nobody on payroll. We don't get paid for it. And and it's beautiful that we have 11 chapters around the world. They all have their own flavors, absolutely.
I just want to clap on that. Please join me.
And it has for 17 years, been a volunteer-built institutions in a community, in a region that has few examples of institutions, but they're built by volunteers. And it's incredible, it has maintained its core charter, a secular, professional core charter of enabling entrepreneurship and success in business. That's it. And by the way, we work very hard, very, very hard to maintain that charter. And the reason why we're going to be successful is if we continue to do that. So there are resist temptations that we get from all sides. We know who we are, we got to focus on that. But any other organization that's built by volunteers, there are challenges. What's crucial is team is crucial. You got to have a core team of committed folks to build things up. So my call to action for Chicago, hopefully you all are enjoying this today. In fact, someone asked me this question this morning, that is not here anymore. So how does Open benefit? I didn't know what to say because I cannot answer that question in 30 seconds. All I can tell you is this: over the last 17 years, we've had hundreds of events, if not more, small workshops to events like this, to mentorship, that have gone on to help people, that have enabled thousands of conversations, that have led to companies being formed, people finding great employment. I actually got introduction to the Your Job opportunity at an Open event through RFLI. But more importantly, we've struck friendships and relationships that are built up as a community. So what Global is doing, and I became president a couple of years ago, is we're trying to revitalize the global network of charter members who are, our seasoned leaders. Because look, this is a premium group of, if you will, for lack of a better term, of successful folks. They got to get to know each other. So we bring everybody together, once a year. We had shared there with this family, and we bring families as well as part of it. And you've seen families and our kids walking into a network. I mean, we all are immigrants here. You know how hard you worked to build those connections, that somebody took your call. I mean, you're lucky if you count 5 people who will take your call anytime you call them. Our kids are going to walk into a network where there's an affinity. People care because who you are, regardless of what you are today. And that is worth gold. But it is about us, about building it. And I just want to add one more thing before you ask me a question about next is, I heard this morning about give back, that, we definitely, and I always say this, but we don't come looking for what's in it for me, no. Tell me what you're going to do. But you don't have to wait to be a charter member. You don't have to be a successful CEO and entrepreneur to give back. All of us are in a position, we are so privileged to be where we are, at every level, at any level, to give as we go. I actually have an issue with the word give back. It almost is presumptuous. It almost sounds like I've arrived, I'm going to give back. No, you give as you go. I was a volunteer at Open SB 15 years ago when I moved after my MBA. When I used to take my daughter, who would help me stuff envelopes. But we were all helping out then. So I'm going to ask, regardless of where you are in your career, you can give a couple of hours, come to events, help put together a special interest group discussion and so forth. So it's very important because it's a shared community effort, and it's only fair that everybody contributes.
Thank you so much, because I know there are a lot of folks in the Open Chicago chapter who are on the fence of being involved, and I wanted to take this opportunity so you could hear from Dilawar firsthand that when you become part of Open, you're really tapping into the strong network. And as a community, when we mature and look at other communities before us, they have grown because of their strong network, and that's what Open Global provides. So thank you for pointing out that fact. Now, what really blows me away, not that this man has done enough, he is very actively involved in the civic duties he does. He was appointed by Obama on the Asian American Commission. He helped draft the DNC platform. He is been campaigning on behalf of Hillary as a surrogate in the key states like Florida and Virginia. And he also drafted and funded the platform for the electronic registrations. So if you could talk about how do you find time to do all of this?
I think we have time. I think it's what we do with that time. I'll give you an example. I was not planning to be Open Global president. There were circumstances that led for me to step in, and I asked myself a question. We have to walk the talk. The communities that we aspire to be, people there have never ceased to be involved. We never become too big for this. This is our stuff. Whether it's on the political side, whether it is on the community entrepreneurship enablement side. So I honestly, with all due respect, I reject anybody this whole notion that I'm too busy. Of course you're busy. So am I. And by the way, I have a daughter in high school.
Oh, wow.
Anybody has young kids, that's one story. When you have kids grow up, you know how much time and energy they take and how much priority they have to be for you. So I actually don't buy this whole thing that, no, I'm too busy. No, we have the capacity and God-gifted talents and energy. We are immigrants. We must punch above our weight. It's expected of us, it will be asked of us. By the way, your kids will ask you this question. Dad, where were you in this election campaign? What did you do? I read about this horrible thing that was said about our community 20 years ago. Oh, I was just busy. I was with what? Because I don't even remember you doing this stuff. So it's crucial that we do. So to answer your question, it takes some sacrifice. You have to be super organized with your time. You have to pick, however, also things that are synergistic with what you do. So in all fairness, for example, when I was in the commission, the president pointed, I chose to help on entrepreneurship-related activities. I was asked to lead on certain things. I said, look, my network is predominantly here. I want to do certain logistics. It allows me to quickly deploy myself. So you have to be strategic. Still, you have to make sure you do things the right way. But it does take more time. It does mean you sacrifice. It does mean no golfing. It does mean that you don't watch random TV. You've got to be very, very focused. But I do think you have the capacity. But above all, I think it's also about passion. I think if you feel strongly about certain things, you obviously want to give time. But I'll tell you very frankly that some of these things are acquired passions from me. I think sometimes you make too much of this passion thing. The reality is it's also a sense of duty. I feel very strongly that in case we haven't realized, we are in a very, very challenging times as a country, as a world, as a community. And I don't want to look back 10 years from now and say, when things were blowing apart, I was too busy about just the freshest IPO, which is, by the way, awesome, and I'm going to be very proud along with the team. But that in and of itself should not be my legacy. That's not enough. It's not enough. Your and my kids' future is equally important. This country's future is equally important. The place we come from, how do we help that country lift itself is very important. So I think when you look at that thing, everything else becomes relative. I mean, our lives are great. We live in a wonderful place. We don't have electricity outages. We don't have law and order situation. We don't have how do we get to commute to work? We live in a very comfortable lifestyle. And I ask myself as an immigrant, what can we do with that time? And I think that sort of thing drives me. Perhaps a little bit more than it should, but that's how I sort of I can rationalize and then hopefully also.
No, absolutely, it's good to hear, because if the passion is there, then one can find the discipline and the time. It's about the time that our community starts getting involved in other aspects as well of the society. One question, if I may ask you, that was raised earlier in the morning to Salman was, I know that you're based in Silicon Valley, and as compared to manufacturing, there are a lot more Pakistanis faces in the tech scene, very impressive ones. What can we do more to bring along our Pakistani brothers and subcontinent people in the corporate world of America?
I think, like Salman said, I actually think there are people who are very successful. I think we have to do a better job, I guess, Open to bring everybody in the fore. I mean, even Open is now 2 decades old. There's a new generation of entrepreneurs have come. When I moved to the Valley, I helped organize Open because there wasn't a platform. Now when you move to the Valley, you have Y Combinator. There's competition. You have to stay relevant. So one of the points that I made at Open Global was, we have to stay relevant to the next generation of entrepreneurs. What are you offering that is of value to you? Because not everybody's going to show up because it happens to be a Pakistani American organization. There has to be something of value. So I think this is an ask for us as an organization, that whether it's mentorship, whether it's connecting them with jobs, whether it's bringing people like Salman and others, and there are many others. Farhan here, my friend who I finally brought into an open event, and he would say, guys, come on, sign up. And by the way, you also learn. It's not that you're just giving, you learn. I'm always learning. I was speaking with a couple of volunteers outside, and I was just enjoying the conversation. I learned so much about what they're doing. You never stop growing. So I think it's not that you're just giving; you're also benefiting from it. So to answer your question, what can we do? I think we have to obviously shine more light. There is incredible talent. I mean, look at this city. There are 400,000 Pakistani Americans.
What an investment.
In the city, 400,000 Pakistani Americans. We have 13 charter members. Do you think there are only 13 successful Pakistani American men and women in Chicago?
Well said.
No, they're not. We have to do a better job of reaching out, organizing, not being incestuous about our networks. Open up, bring people in, women, men, young folks, everybody. And look, once you get that critical mass, you make incredible value from there, right? It's a snowball effect in terms of opportunities for yourself, obviously for your careers, but also for the community overall.
Oh, great, thank you. So like Horace said earlier in the morning, this is more about you folks versus us. So this is a great opportunity to ask Dilawar, any questions that may come to mind from his experience in Silicon Valley as a president of Fresh Desk or Open Global or any other aspect. So please, I would welcome questions from you.
I'm Dr. Taj Ahmed. Really enjoy your presentation. But your question as to a Pakistani citizen leading an Indian company kind of fascinated a lot of people. I just wanted to clarify some of those things because I am from India Right now, I'm sure we can all trace back, as you pointed out. Most of us were Indians at one time in the subcontinent until 1947. And there are so many people who are of kind of crossbreed, Indian parents and Pakistani children. And two of them are right here, Fahim and Naeem. Their father was from Hyderabad and mother from Pakistan. So it's not that we are so separate. So I asked Ismail Ji at one time, Wipro boss in Bangalore when I met him, as to what does he do for Indian Muslims. He had a very interesting answer. And he said, I really want to be successful. I'm just bring me any number of Muslim qualified people. I will hire them, but I will not hire them substandard candidates that if you bring it to me. So I think he proved to be the most successful man I think far beyond India could possibly get as a CEO. Congratulations for you. You are successful.
Look, I would just say, just a thought as you were explaining about these two young men about their shared heritage. As Americans, and that I'm speaking, in that context, we have a shared challenge here. We have a shared challenge here. And actually, what has been disturbing in the last few weeks, there has been actually a concerted effort to divide the South Asian community. And we've heard some stuff that we actually read in stories about growing up. That has never happened in this country, has never ever happened. So regardless of what happens in the subcontinent, which unfortunately, something we can't control, but we have an opportunity here to say, no, we are not dividing ourselves. We are one, and we have shared outcomes we are driving towards. And here we have friends and families who are joined, and we create value together. So it's very important that we stay true to that, because in times like these, the division can be sowed across many lines. We are not going backwards. In fact, if anything, we have to help the region that we all come from, which we're all proud of, also, move forward as well.
Also, co-founder of Discourse Analytics. My question is about Open's role in connecting businesses and entrepreneurs outside of Pakistan with businesses and entrepreneurs inside of Pakistan. So to the extent that I think many of us are optimistic about the direction that Pakistan is headed, I think, long-term with infrastructure and hopefully better governance and things like that. What trends or what opportunities do you see that perhaps going beyond simply just looking for engineers and developers there to work with companies here, but ways that, opportunities in terms of sectors or businesses that, we should start thinking about that, instead of starting companies here, we can start companies here that do work in Pakistan, because my team there has asked, do you think we can sell in Pakistan? Like, yeah, I think we can, but I'm not quite sure how. I'm not quite sure how we take our enterprise software and start presenting it to companies there. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that based on your travels and experience.
The question about how do we support entrepreneurship in Pakistan is your question.
Well, it's both. What is Open doing to connect? Because I know there are chapters in Pakistan, and then as entrepreneurs here, that I feel very fortunate and proud to have employed people there, and that we're working together on what I think are really important and valuable products.
Right.
But doing more there.
Yeah, I think.
The development.
Let me say. I think there's a playbook. There's a playbook of diaspora playing a role to take a country's nascent ecosystem forward. And that playbook has been tried in Israel, has worked successfully. It's tried in Ireland, it's happened in India. And there's absolutely no reason and no doubt in my mind that it can't happen in Pakistan. So we as diaspora, Open and others, have a role to play. And here's how it works. And many of you have either augmented staff with developers in the country. Some of you, I know, Usher, for example, who is a very successful charter member, he's Fireside founder, he took them public, early parts were built in Pakistan. And so there is, you train talent, right? So that is, I think that's something we all can do, we should do. But at the same time, I also believe that it is, at the end of the day, the responsibility of the local communities to organize. One thing that worries me, and we're just talking about this over lunch, the culture of mentoring from local role models yet hasn't taken root, if you will, in Lahore and Karachi. I find it a bit disturbing sometimes when folks say, you guys come from the valley and spend more time with us than your counterparts there in Lahore. So what I am very clear is we should not build, Open Lahore is not a Gymkhana club. What's beautiful about our chapters here is they're diverse, they're inclusive. They don't look at where you went to school or how you speak a certain language, but rather where are you going and how can we help you? I think we have some ways to go. We have some significant ways to go. I, by the way, grew up in Sialkot. I'm not a big city guy, and it's a city of entrepreneurs. And I went to school now, and then I realized that what's people often miss about Sialkot is that it is mostly uninherited wealth, but it's created with relationships. Every second household was involved in the cottage industry. People through relationships got orders with export, and they helped each other. The local chamber of commerce, which is, if you will, open of Sialkot, right, did a tremendous job, built the airport. We all heard this great story, but it happened because the community organized. So we certainly can help as a diaspora, but at the end of the day, these chapters, whether it's Chicago, it's Lahore, it's Karachi, have to organize, make sure they open up, really go outside of their ways to include people. Lahore's a big city, by the huge tech scene there going on, right? So I hope I answered that question, but I think it's we have responsibility, but the responsibility is also of the local leaders. I think you had a question. Please.
My name is Saman Sheikh, and I am a media professional and have been for quite some time, and I'm affiliated in Northwestern at the moment, and we're creating a journalism program at IBA, and we're trying to do things, train journalists in Pakistan. The reason why I just want to tack on to what you were saying is that, yes, we want to include people, it doesn't matter what school you went to, what happened, but I want you to say that you're going to include women in your fight over here. I want to be taken seriously as a female who's interested in technology and media at the same time. And I think that there are biases. I have to face being a Pakistani, being Muslim, being a woman, being a new mom. Like, there's all these biases, and it's really, you guys have to help us with this.
Absolutely, that is very true, and I'm glad you brought up someone. And when I said people, I meant women and men. By the way, you'll be glad to hear that 3 of our chapters are led by women presidents, who are, as of course, dynamic as everybody else. In the Valley, we started a Women Leadership Forum, which is our most successful, as president, most successful event in the year, where it is focused on leadership in women. I was talking to Harris, and we both agreed that it would have been nice to have women speakers. I know our MC is wonderful, Zarifa, but we needed more women, and I think one thing I'm going to ask of you is to get involved. Someone said, you get involved, next year you sit here, I'll sit over there, and we will chat about it.
Open Chicago has women charter member. You're more than welcome to come and join us. We love that. We love that diversity.
It's really what we make of the stuff. The point is taken. Absolutely got to do.
The industry as well. I think there should be more representation and also inclusion and openness about it.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, I'm just going to make a broad point about, you said openness about it. At the end of the day, a lot of work that I do outside Open, you could say that, I could say, by the way, they're not open to me, and maybe they are, maybe they're not, but you know what, I don't care. I don't care, one bit. There were times I was in the White House, I was the only non-white person in the room, representing the entire 40% demography of the country. I never thought for a second, what am I doing here? So, I agree with you, we have long ways to go, but you're a leader. You're a leader. You come in and you change it. And then tell us if anybody came in the way, we'll knock them out. We'll do that. But I think look at it, just go for it. The good news about this is we all recognize. And that's why there's need and this wonderful sea of diverse crowd, we gotta have you involved as well.
So we're almost at time, maybe one last question.
I'm always asking questions, I'm always inquisitive, but my question to you is that we're in the supply chain business, we have acquired quite a few companies, and we've lost our shirts every time we acquire a company in Silicon Valley. And the reason I asked you that is because we acquire companies when it comes to EBITDA and just a normal way of doing business, private equities and everything. My question to you is that what is there, and I need your help with that, is to figure out when we acquire companies, anytime we go to Silicon Valley, the EBITDAs don't exist. You guys are always in red, and you sell it for millions of dollars. So what is it where in Silicon Valley you can advise us to, at the high level, to look into with this technology? Is it the consumer share you look into, why the companies are valued at a certain time? or a certain value, or is it more because there's a technology aspect of it?
I think in the digital space, you look at, I know the business that I am in, you look at the addressable market and so much more that needs to get done. So that's what we focus on. I mean, look at Amazon. Has never struck a profit, but we all know the opportunity, right? So I think if you are operating in a broad space with a total addressable market that is huge, and that is, by the way, increasing. If the customer service is increasing thanks to mobile and social, more people are wanting to interact with brands. They want instant service. That means you're expanding market. So short-term profitability is not an issue. We have raised a bunch of capital, even though with a good cost structure. We are investing more and more. And we are not profitable yet, but because we want to launch new products, we want to get more market share. So that's where the valuation, that's where you look at what the potential is, top down, as opposed to worrying about, whether or not you're profitable. So you have to look at what problem you're solving, how big that problem is, and how value additive you are to that problem. If that makes sense, very quickly.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalil, and I have a technology startup in the area of telecommunications. Inshallah, we will have more than 100 patents in the next few months. And we are getting ready to file that. I have one question, direct question as far as funding is concerned. We are going through Series A, B, C funding. Yeah, the amount is very, very large. Now, how would you evaluate your own company so that we can negotiate on a level with investors?
Well, I mean, I don't know exactly the company in this case, but I would look at comparables. I mean, a lot of times you could look at public companies. In our case, for example, we recently closed that round. Then look at one of our main competitors, and they're a public company that recently went public, and you see where they are, where the earnings are, what's the multiple of the earning that would command. And because you're private, we may get a premium over that. So you have to do your research, you have to make sure you have some comparisons you're driving. But in addition to that, going back to the earlier question I was addressing, you also look at the broader market and the problem you're solving. You try to look at, 5 years from now, where you expect yourself to be. Not just the business model projections, but literally some data that suggests that you're operating you have a big play coming ahead of you. So it's a combination of the two. And third, I would say it also depends on who your VC is. Is she or he going to jump change with you, or are they going to look at the opportunity?
Yeah,
You've been lucky that in our case, you get VCs who've done this, they have patent recognition, they know. And by the way, they're also often investing in the entrepreneur. There's another value out there too, right?
Sequoia and Bessemer.
Yeah, so those guys are professionals, they know what they're doing. I would, obviously it's a negotiation, we can talk offline as well. But I would do my homework, I would not just take what they give you. By the way, let me just say this, you are shopping, you should go to others too. They're not doing you a favor. So you're talking to investment, go talk to others too, go talk to Excel. I'm happy to make some connection there as well. Just have them all want you, it's like dating. And play hard to get at times. And I'm serious. Yeah, they should be fighting to invest in you.
They are.
Then add more to it, and then you will see what will happen. You have to generate that inbound interest as well.
Thanks.
So,
Farooq has a question.
one last question here.
So having known you for 20 years now, and since before, you were president of Oakland, president of Fresh Desk. A key question for me is, and this is something I'm asking. It's a loaded question because I want you to share your perspective on this, so everybody sort of can take something away from this. You've been able to maintain a sense of humility that I don't think Pakistanis in general do, right? I mean, if you see somebody who's become, who's on the Obama's committee, right, and you didn't even mention it until it was brought up that, by the way, he's also, running part of Hillary's campaign. And then on top of that, you are president of Fresh Desk, which has raised $55 million, not an easy round to raise, right, at this time. And on top of that, you're president of Global Open. Those are big shoes to fill in general. And I think as Pakistanis, you can see many people who would be fairly unapproachable. You have been able to maintain a sense of humility. So talk about how you do that. And so, I think all of us can take something away from that, because it's important that as people become successful that they maintain that.
That was very kind of you. I don't know, you should never forget where you come from. That's it. And I think we all know We all have a story. We all have a story. And I have mine. And if you stay grounded, and it's important for you to stay grounded, it's crucial. You'll act in a certain way. As much as you want to go places, you want to know where you're going from. It's very crucial. So, and secondly, I enjoy people. I just love to chat and connect. And I think we are framing somebody's value in a pure financial terms. And I have a huge pet peeve with that. A major pet peeve with that. We are far richer, far more complicated, far more precious as people than just a dollar figure. And that, by the way, often happens in economic migrants. The first question is, what do you do? No, who are you? And when you unpeel, you see, wow, such special people. And we are special because we chose to take this journey. And we all have a story. So I try not to forget, and I don't even think about stuff. And secondly, I just keep my eye on what the outcome is. We have a lot of work cut out for us as people, as a community, as fathers and mothers, as entrepreneurs. And I'm just like, let me just make sure I get stuff done. The rest, I don't worry about. But thank you, I appreciate that. And I'm glad you made it, and we want to thank you for the charter. Are you going to do that? There you go. Close one. Close one.
That's why I love this man. We gotta get him back over here. I've certainly enjoyed my time with you, and I hope you guys did so too. Please join me in thanking Dilawar for such a wonderful